I'm Elaine. I work in metal. Yeah, this is metal. And it is technically chainmail, which is a series of rings interconnected. So it has one ring holding four other rings that connect to it. And because they're all loose, but welded shut individually, it creates a really beautiful flexibility. So I can just do this, I can do this, and that is the flowing feeling of the metal. That's what attracted me initially to work in this material. I do know how to take flat sheets of metal and hammer them and saw them and create objects with them. But this material has its own quality, its own way of being. So when I construct something, I have to think about its weight and its movement, and particularly since these are pieces that are on the body, I also have to think about how does it look when it's on the body. It's not like I can create something and assume that it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay once I see that the design is working within and around. And so it's a detailed process that I enjoy working with. And I was prompted to learn about chainmail when in graduate school, when my professor Dennis French said, you need to learn some new techniques. So I signed up for a workshop in chainmail. And when I was constructing chainmail, one ring at a time, wrapping wire around a dowel rod, that whole thing, or a metal rod, sorry, and then sawing the rings, making individual rings, I discovered it was something that felt really natural to me. And that was something that kind of drew me in. And I still did other things besides it, but it kind of stuck with me. It's a material I really love. And it also makes my work very unique. So, but there is something that's really cool about it. The way I work, the material is stainless steel. It's not as heavy as you might think. So I can wear a big object like this. I can flow in it, I can move in it, and it's more like a blanket, like a heavy blanket. So it feels very grounding. I feel comfortable in it. And the metal is not harsh, it's soft. These are all the things that I like about the material. And then, there's just something about working in metal when it seems to be sort of fiber-like that's interesting. People oftentimes will say, is this knitted? And I'll say, no, it's not knitted, and it's not crocheted, because if it was, then the metal would be completely stiff. So it's the fluid quality that I'm most interested in. I started out as a jeweler. I still like working in the jewelry format because oftentimes my ideas for bigger pieces come through these smaller pieces. And the jewelry is something that's more intimate, it's something that's more close to a person, it's closer. So it can invite you in, it can have space for a different kind of conversation with a person or with somebody who sees it. And jewelry can take all kinds of forms, so I can be expressive, it's just that it's smaller. So working in this scale gives me the opportunity to work differently because they need to do different things. The jewelry, I really want it to be something that somebody feels comfortable in, and also moves with them, which this material does, and gives you a sense of your own style because it's a unique object. So you're really showing something that people will actually ask you questions about. And isn't it great to have somebody ask you a question about what you're wearing, which also identifies more, comes back to around like who you are, what this is for you, how does it feel for you? All of those kinds of questions might be just might be something that a person would ask you. That's very cool.